try to give him to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez won't be able to withstand the challenge Terence Crawford presents. According to Jones, Canelo lacks the energy and sharpness he once possessed, raising concerns about his current form and questioning the decline at this stage of his career. In stark contrast, he commended Crawford's discipline, focus, and elite-level skills. Jones emphasized that weight won't be the deciding factor. Crawford's technique, timing, and ring IQ are more than capable of neutralizing any size disadvantage. He warned that facing a fighter as skilled and relentless as Crawford could expose Canelo's current weaknesses, making this fight far more dangerous than many expect.
It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. And what I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
Roy Jones also cautioned that if Canelo enters the ring overconfident, assuming a win over Crawford is guaranteed, he could be in for a brutal awakening. Jones stressed that underestimating Crawford's strategy and skill set might result in a tough and potentially punishing loss.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Olympic boxer Omari Jones has confidently backed Terence Crawford to defeat Canelo Alvarez. He highlighted that Crawford's approach to moving up in weight isn't typical. Rather than simply adding bulk, Crawford has methodically planned his weight gain with precision. By focusing on the right diet, strength training, and conditioning, he's maintained his speed and agility, key attributes that make this a highly favorable matchup for him, according to Jones.
The grit and me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. And it, I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right way.
Even though moving up to face a larger opponent presents real physical challenges, Jones emphasized Crawford's disciplined preparation. He noted that Crawford isn't just adding size, he's refining his body to carry the weight efficiently without sacrificing the qualities that make him dangerous. This fight, Jones believes, is a testament to Crawford's commitment and a chance to prove he can thrive against one of boxing's most formidable champions.
Right way. The nutrition, the like I said, the training. Crawford, he trains hard, so I feel like I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know you, like we discussed earlier, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it was actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then I was my second fight, Atlantic City on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Bam Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Pauli Malignaggi has closely observed Crawford's physical transformation. He noted that while Crawford appears noticeably bigger, it's actually a major advantage. In Malignaggi's view, Crawford has successfully added size without losing his trademark speed, footwork, or timing, traits many fighters struggle to retain when moving up in weight.
That doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make, because sometimes it does wind up that way. But I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, So there's times where it affects, and there's times where I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're gonna be sparring with this added weight, you're gonna be doing the boxing training with this added weight, so you're gonna know how to maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up and you get big, and then you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're gonna feel it.
Crawford seems to have found the ideal balance, gaining the strength and durability to face a naturally bigger opponent like Canelo, while still maintaining the agility needed for his style. Malignaggi credits Crawford's meticulous training and professionalism, observing that the added mass complements rather than compromises his skill set. He believes the increase in power could actually enhance Crawford's performance against Canelo's aggressive pressure.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez. So that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said, you're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself, as I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym, it just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, all types of crazy numbers just to get people to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight and we see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be that heavy.
Renowned boxing analyst Max Kellerman offered a sharp technical breakdown of the matchup. He praised Crawford's jab as one of the most precise and effective weapons in modern boxing, fast, accurate, and capable of controlling the pace of a fight. While Canelo once had a similarly sharp jab, Kellerman noted it has declined over time, giving Crawford a distinct edge in range control and scoring. He also highlighted Crawford's tactical genius and ability to adapt in real time, exploiting openings others fail to recognize.
Attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Kellerman contrasted this with Canelo's reliance on his natural size, strength, and power, tools that have allowed him to dominate smaller opponents. But if Crawford can disrupt Canelo's forward momentum and turn the fight into a chess match, Kellerman believes the tactical battle will heavily favor Crawford. In his eyes, Crawford's combination of precision and fight IQ may be his most valuable asset in this high-stakes showdown.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size. Size and, as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. A great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
Popular boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult offered a balanced perspective. He acknowledged Canelo's physical power and the intensity of his training camps, which have kept him at the sport's elite level. Canelo's ability to take punishment, apply pressure, and land clean counterpunches makes him a dangerous opponent. However, Showbiz also praised Crawford's diverse background, particularly his wrestling experience, which enhances his ability to read opponents, adjust tactics, and perform under pressure.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is strong. He is, okay? And he understands leverage and he understands those things because he wrestled. Honestly, very true. But Saul Canelo Alvarez is also extremely strong.
Across the boxing world, one theme remains consistent. Crawford's strategy will be pivotal. Experts agree this isn't just another fight. It's a defining moment in Crawford's career. A win over Canelo could silence any remaining critics and elevate Crawford's legacy into the conversation of all-time greats. To do that, he must rely on patience, precision, and adaptability, avoiding wild exchanges where Canelo's power is most dangerous. Analysts argue that distance control, smart angles, and sustained composure over 12 rounds will be the keys to victory. In this matchup, mental sharpness could be just as important as physical ability.
He understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before. Because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just going to say, well, that's Crawford. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you know, you got to work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you're talking about right here, right? And so this is, I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
It feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore.
You need big words to get out of fights. You know, you need big words to get out of fights. But okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey, sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. he had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford-Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence, he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Kawi and a young George Foreman. And
Super middleweight contender Edgar Berlanga offered his insights on Crawford's mindset. He urged Crawford to stick to the fighting style that has brought him success, rather than changing too much to compensate for the weight difference. Berlanga acknowledged the challenge of moving up 2 divisions, but also noted that it naturally balances the dynamics in other ways. For him, Crawford's ring IQ, adaptability, and disciplined approach are far more crucial than trying to match Canelo's physicality. He emphasized that just accepting such a high-risk fight speaks volumes about Crawford's championship mentality.
First of all, he got to go in there and he just got to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, you know, show his IQ, show him why he's a 2-time undisputed, you know, world champion, and go in there with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know, it's a big weight difference, a big weight jump. You know, that could be a difference in the fight. You know, because obviously, you know, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a foot of power. I'm a foot of that size difference, you know, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, you know, we'll just all know that, hey, you know, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not, he can't really, he's testing himself. He's putting himself, testing himself a great fighter. So, and I don't doubt him, you know, I don't got no doubt in my mind. You know, he's a 2-time undisputed world champion for a reason. So, you know, and I don't think none's going to phase him in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the power, maybe the size, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Canelo, he's not knocking Canelo out. So, he just got to go in there, just IQ.
Would you lean towards Canelo still in that fight?
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it. You know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, you know, obviously the power. And Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ, you know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a lot much bigger guys, you know? So I know the Crawford's power ain't going to phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't going to phase him either, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Legendary trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas kept his take simple but powerful. He believes Terence Crawford is special, a rare fighter with greatness in him. Atlas sees Crawford as a unique blend of physical tools, technical precision, and mental toughness. For him, greatness isn't just about raw talent, it's about delivering when it matters most. According to Atlas, Crawford has consistently done just that. And this showdown with Canelo is yet another stage for Crawford to prove his greatness to the world.
Maybe he's a little overrated.
Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. Really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class. Can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned, and until next time, keep your guard up.